Okay, so we're live here for the weekly Wednesday, 12 p.m. Eastern Time Q&A, and we're going to be discussing how to use keto to heal your body. I'm going to answer as many questions as possible, so start sending me your questions right now. I'll review them and first come, first serve. I'm also going to share with you some interesting research. So let's start right there with some interesting research. Here's a study that came out in November of 2018. 4 years ago or so, 3.5 years ago, or 3 years ago. And this was from the University of North Carolina, Chapel Hill. And this study took thousands of people over several years, and they wanted to determine, how healthy Americans are or how sick Americans are. And what they did is they looked at triglycerides, they looked at HDL cholesterol, total cholesterol, LDL cholesterol, insulin, A1C. They looked at blood pressure. They looked at if individuals were on medication or not on medication. And here's what the study found: that only 12% of American adults are metabolically healthy. Allow me to say this a different way. 88% of American adults are metabolically unhealthy. That is an extremely high number. Our mission here at Keto Kamp is to put a dent in disease, to put a dent in this. We're not born into this world designed to create sickness and disease and symptoms. If you're dealing with symptoms, that's not the way you were born. Your body has an innate intelligence within it. And that innate intelligence is designed to heal your body. So we have a big problem, but we also have the solution. And it's not just this one study that I share with you, right? It's also diabetes. You might have diabetes right now, or you probably know somebody who has diabetes. And here are some statistics regarding diabetes. It's estimated that 60%, that's 60% of Americans are diabetic or pre-diabetic. I would go as far as to say that's much higher, because not everybody's testing and it takes years for diabetes to actually show up on lab reports. Out of those people who have diabetes, about 60% of them, 68%, end up with heart disease. 16% of them end up with a stroke, and 70% of them end up with diabetic neuropathy, which is super painful. My dad dealt with all of that before I lost my dad in 2014. But the stats I just shared with you apply to those who are on medication. All right, most people don't understand, just because you're taking medication, it doesn't mean you're exempt from this set of statistics. Diabetes medication may show your blood sugar levels are getting better, but the diabetes is getting worse. As a matter of fact, most people don't even die from diabetes. It's actually pretty rare to die from diabetes. People are dying from the generation of the disease, the complications of the diabetic disease, the kidney failure, the amputations, the heart attacks, the strokes. We don't have a deficiency in medication. We have a deficiency in people who don't understand how amazing their human body is. We have a keto deficiency, not a medication deficiency. Diabetes, and when I say diabetes, I'm referring to type 2 diabetes. Type 2 diabetes is fairly easy, relatively easy to reverse, okay? And no, this is not medical advice, but I will tell you this. We've had dozens and dozens of students enroll into my Keto Kamp Academy, and within months, I'm talking about 30 days to 3 months to sometimes 6 months, get off all their diabetes medication, get off their insulin, and get to a healthy A1C, a healthy fasting insulin. It can be done. And guess what? Ketosis, intermittent fasting, quality sleep, movement, working on the mindset, everything we teach here at Keto Kamp, everything we teach here on these weekly lives is how to do it. When you think about some other stats out there, and these are stats according to the CDC, and also cancer.org, it's estimated that 1 in 3 women in the United States will be diagnosed with cancer during their lifetime. For men, it's estimated 1 in 2. It's also estimated by the year 2032, which is 10 years from now, not too far away, about 1 in 2 children will be born on the autism spectrum. We got a problem, but we got the solution. And I'm going to answer some questions here for you. But there's 2 types of people in the world. We have 97% of the population in the world, but especially in America, who are looking for toxic pills, surgeries, and shortcuts. And there's a long line of people looking for shortcuts who are just chasing symptoms. And you know what? Chasing symptoms don't work. Allopathic medicine, conventional medicine does not work. Sure, you get a medication or a surgery and you might feel better short term, but then something else pops up. So you go into your doctor and you have high cholesterol and they prescribe you a statin. And you take the statin and maybe it regulates your cholesterol, but then you get brain fog and then you get a stroke, a heart attack. Maybe it creates thick, sluggish blood in your bloodstream. So they give you something to thin your blood. And then that creates some other symptom. And then it's just chasing symptoms. Similar, if you have children, or if you remember going to the arcade and playing the game Whack-A-Mole, it's an arcade game where you have a hammer, a toy hammer. A mole pops up in this little arcade game. Think of the mole as a symptom and think of the hammer as a medication. And you hit that mole. So you're prescribed the medication, you take it. Awesome. The mole's gone. But then what happens after that? Another mole pops up. So you get prescribed a second medication, you hit that mole, and then what happens after that? A third one pops up, and you're just hitting the mole, chasing symptoms. It doesn't work. Here's the difference between the 97%ers and the 3%ers. 3% of the population, they understand it's not about chasing symptoms. They understand there's a cause and an effect. An effect just doesn't show up. There's something that caused it. So there's 3 steps to healing your incredible body. The first step is to identify the interference. What is interfering from this amazing innate intelligence from doing its job? That's interference equals inflammation. Number 2, work on removing the interference. Work on reducing the inflammation. Number 3, allow your amazing body to heal. Your body could heal. And you know what? If you're dealing with a symptom, that is a gift. Think of your symptoms right now, not as something you hate, but think of your symptoms as a gift. And I know it's not fun to deal with symptoms. And there's a long list of symptoms, from brain fog to autoimmune disease to fatigue to skin issues, digestive issues, cancer, diabetes, obesity. These are all symptoms. They're not actually the problem, but they're gifts to your body. It's your innate intelligence telling you, hey, body, there's something wrong with your lifestyle and we need to make some changes. If you were driving on the highway on a 5-hour road trip and 2 hours into that road trip, your engine light turned on, which is a symptom, you wouldn't just mask it and put a piece of tape over your engine light. You would pop open the hood and see what's going on with the engine. Otherwise, you're in for some big problems. So pay attention to your symptoms. Don't chase them. Open up the hood. What's going on inside of your body? What is causing the inflammation? Let's work on that. Ketosis, of course, powerful way. Ketones are a powerful way to reduce inflammation. If you want to understand a little bit more, let me explain why real quick. But before I do, one of my favorite quotes, I always quote Alvin Toffler. He said, the illiterate of the 21st century, it's not those who cannot read and write, but those who cannot learn, unlearn, and then relearn. So we've learned through conventional medicine, through mainstream media, that the body is not capable of healing itself, that we need something external. We need a medication. We need a surgery. We need toxic pills and even supplements to an extent. But we need to unlearn that and then relearn that your body is built to heal. Einstein said, intellectuals solve problems, geniuses prevent them. So let me ask you this. Which one are you? Are you the 97% or are you a 3%er? Let me know. Type in which one you are. Are you a 97%er who's looking for shortcuts and toxic pills and surgeries? Or are you a 3%er who understands cause and effect and you're willing to do whatever it takes to heal your amazing body? Which one are you? Put it in the chat box down below. So when you think about the keto diet, super powerful, right? And the reason keto works for you, let me explain this to you real quick. The reason keto works for you is when you think about the human body, out of the 70 trillion cells, and I see you, Jason, I see you, Samina Sleep, I see you, Alina, I see you, Mr. Draw, I see you, Voodoo Ray, I see you, D. Smith, hey, Suzanne, I know you're a 3%er. When you think about the human body and the 70 trillion cells inside of the body, either we're burning glucose or we're using ketones. Let me show you something real quick. Now, ketosis, if you have no idea what keto is, you've just kind of heard people, I do the keto diet. Here's how it works. When you drop your carbohydrates in general below 50 total grams of carbs for the day, not net, but total, when you do that, you lower glucose and insulin in your body, which is what we want to do. Most people have excessive glucose and insulin. When you start to lower glucose and insulin, you start to mobilize body fat. We know that many of us have excess body fat. Insulin blocks us from tapping into our body fat. So as you drop glucose and insulin by dropping carbohydrates, you're able to actually start mobilizing body fat. That body fat, fatty acids, are then sent to your liver. Your liver then starts burning the fatty acids, and then it produces ketones. That is what keto is. There's nothing new about it. Ketosis has been around for as long as humans have existed, and there's 3 types of ketone bodies. There is acetoacetate, which is expelled in the urine. There is beta hydroxybutyrate, which is in the bloodstream, and it has the ability to get into the blood-brain, cross through the blood-brain barrier and get into your brain. And then there's acetone excreted in the breath. Now, when we think about keto, it is not a diet. It is a metabolic process. I want everybody watching this to really understand that. Everybody write this with me so we're on the same page. In the chat box right now, keto is not a diet. Everybody write that. Keto is not a diet. Keto is not a diet. Keto is a metabolic process. And you know what we have right now in this day and age? A keto deficiency. We don't have a medication deficiency. We have a keto deficiency. Thank you, Jason. I see you. There you go, Jay Perez. I see you. If you want to get well, you got to fix the cell. My mentor, Dr. Pompa, says that all the time. So the mitochondria is very important to understand. The mitochondria are the energy power plants that are within your cells. Think of them as the engine of your cells. Just like your car has an engine to get that vehicle moving, the mitochondria is the engine for your cells. If you have no mitochondria, you don't exist. The vehicle is not going to move. The vehicle is going to be broken. If you have no engine, the vehicle is not going to move. Now, let me ask you this question. Which cells do you think have the highest concentration of mitochondria in the body? I'll give you the answer. It's the cells in your body that are the most responsible for survival. Because the number one priority for the body, the number one priority for the innate intelligence is survival. So it's the brain cells, the eyeball cells, the heart cells, and most importantly, the ovaries have the highest concentration of mitochondria. Think about it. Survival, the brain. You need to be able to think clearly and strategize to hunt and kill your prey or run away. Eyes, you need to be able to see your prey. Heart, you need to have that healthy heart pumping. Ovaries, reproduction. These are all important. But every cell has mitochondria, hundreds of thousands to 50,000 to 100,000. Oh, what happened to my camera? Hold on a second here. Shoot. 1 second. I'll be back with you right now. Let me fix this. It says that the camera is not connected. That is weird. What's going on here? Coming right back. Don't leave me. Don't leave me. Let me fix this. Couldn't find a camera. Is it possible you don't have one plugged in? No, it is plugged in. You're just not seeing it. So 1 second here. I'm still here figuring out the camera situation. 1 second. What do you mean it's not plugged in? It's plugged in. I know IG and TikTok is up, but my YouTube is not. So let me see something here. Let's try this again. I unplugged it and plugged it back in. Yeah, it's the StreamYard. I know you could see it here. Shoot. All right, I'm testing this out. I just unplugged it again. Let's see. Let me just reset StreamYard. I know you could hear me, but you can't see me on YouTube. I know TikTok you could see me, but for some reason it's not showing on. All right, so here's what I'm going to need to do. I'm going to need to restart my computer. So for those who are on stream on YouTube and Facebook, I'll be right back. I might have to do a new stream. So I'll be right back. On TikTok and Instagram, I'll stay with you. So let me restart and be right back with you. with you. All right, I think I'm back here on YouTube and Facebook. Let me know if you could see me. I think you can. If you can't, let's see. 1, 2, 3. Do you see me on Instagram? Excuse me, on Facebook and YouTube? Do you see me on Facebook and YouTube? And then I'm going to answer some questions. I had some other slides, but I think sharing them messed up the stream here. It's like the radio of the 1940s. I see you, Tracy. All right, I think I'm back. I am back. Okay, cool. Thanks for waiting for me. I appreciate your patience. I'll get to some questions. I had some other slides to share with you. I'll share with you those slides next Wednesday because I think the slide share kind of messed up the video. So I'm back. Good to see you. Let's get to some questions here. I've been doing OMAD for so long and it's lost its effects. Yeah. If you don't know what OMAD is 1 meal a day. I think it's a great tool, but you don't want to do it for too long. You don't want to do it for too often. OMAD should be sprinkled in maybe a couple times per week. When you do it too often, you don't get enough protein. Your body could go into preservation mode. So if it's lost its effect, time to mix it up. Always remember that. If you hit a stall, mix it up. Similar to a personal trainer, a great personal trainer that understands the human body. They're always mixing up the workout for their clients, so the client's body has to adapt and get results. Same thing. So mix it up. Do less OMAD, maybe 2 to 3 meals a day, as a healthy way of mixing it up. Question: all roads lead to Rome says, what is a healthy A1C? I would say a healthy A1C is below 5.2, and if you could get it under 5, even better. If you're at 5.7 or let's say 5.6 to 6.1, you're considered pre-diabetic, and then 6.2 or higher is considered type 2 diabetic. Now, if you're wondering what the A1C is, everybody should go get a A1C blood work done from their doctor or their practitioner. A1C is looking at the 3-month average of your blood glucose. Gives you a good idea. And I would also recommend getting a fasting insulin done because the A1C and your blood glucose could look pretty good for several years, but you could still be developing type 2 diabetes in the pancreas. The beta cells in the pancreas could be getting itself worn out by producing high amounts of insulin, but a fasting insulin will check that. You want your fasting insulin to be, let's say, between 2 and 4 would be a good fasting insulin. Pain from statins, and I work out 7 days a week. Well, I know statins block the enzyme. If you look at the metabolic pathway of statins, it blocks the production of CoQ10. So it's important, and this is not medical advice, but if somebody is on a statin, it's probably a good idea for them to take CoQ10 as well. Maybe some increasing your protein and some polyphenols, quality sleep, red light therapy. These could help with pain as well, especially from workouts. Do you recommend carnivore? I do. I think carnivore is a great tool. I throw it in for 30 to 60 days per year, a couple times per year. I also wrote an entire chapter on carnivore in my book, Keto Flex, which, by the way, many of you have been asking for the Audible version of Keto Flex. And for the last 11 months, I have been going into the studio, recording and narrating it myself, the Audible version of Keto Flex. And I'm happy to share with you, as of a few days ago, it is officially available worldwide on Audible. So if you like to listen to books, get it. It's 6.5 hours, and it's going to really make a big difference for you on your journey. If you're a new customer to Audible, meaning you don't have an account yet, you could actually get this book for free. If you go to freeketoflex.com, freeketoflex.com, free for new Audible customers. If you're already currently an Audible customer, you could just add it to your cart or use a credit. I narrated the whole book, professionally produced. I'm super happy with it. So if you like to listen to books, get Keto Flex on Audible. Thank you, Dixie. I love your videos. I appreciate that. I see Angela in Italy. David, yeah, it did. I love that. Javier says, hi, Ben. How are you doing, mate? How to get good sleep at night. In my book, I have an entire chapter on sleep, but I'll share some tips for you. You want to have a bedtime routine. You want to have some sort of sleep hygiene is what we're going to call it. Your body needs to get signals that we're winding down, we're preparing for rest, we're preparing for the bed, we're preparing for sleep. So that means avoiding things that are elevating your heart rate, that are stimulating you at night. So turning off the news, making sure you're not exercising too close to bed, finding something to wind down, maybe reading a book, relaxing at night, getting more of that parasympathetic rest and digest nervous system could help. Number 2, make your bedroom cold. I put my bedroom 63 degrees Fahrenheit. I also use a chili pad, which cools the bed. Dark bedroom is very important as well. You might want to experiment with melatonin and magnesium. I take about 400 milligrams of magnesium. That could help you get better sleep starting tonight. And then read my book on sleep, the chapter on sleep in my book, Keto Flex. Cynthia said, I ordered your book. Excited. Thank you, Cynthia. You're awesome. I appreciate you very, very much. Do you ever eat more than 50 carbs, flex out of ketosis? I do. I personally do a couple times per week. I have 150, 200 grams of carbs. So I do practice flexing, but I've done the work, right? In the beginning, if you're new and you're still working on your metabolism, you wouldn't do that. But once you get keto adapted, which is what I teach, takes like 8 to 12 weeks, then you start flexing out. So I do that myself. I use the chili pad. So if you go to ketokampchilipad.com, we actually have a coupon code with them. Let's see, chili pad. Where is it? So I use the Chili Cube Sleep System is the one I use. So if you go to ketokampchilipad.com, the coupon code for 30% off that one is KKP30. And then they also have the Uller Sleep System. That coupon code is KKP20. Let's get to some YouTube questions, and then I'll go back to Instagram right after, as there's 20% battery left on that phone. Okay, let's see. Roger in El Paso, Texas. Summer, good to see you in Idaho. Dan says, hi, Ben. Please explain ALT and the importance range and how low the ALT number should be. ALT and AST are usually on your blood markers looking at liver enzymes. So it's looking at liver function. I would say if you have your ALT around the mid-teens, like 15 to 18, ALT and AST, that's a good range. If it's over 20, over 30, it could signal that you might have some liver challenges, maybe fatty liver, maybe sluggish bile. There's some ways to support the liver. If your ALT and AST is up, you could do something called a PC push. Super powerful for the liver. Liver is very important to support. You got to love your liver. It's the soccer mom organ, does so much for you. PC push, PC stands for phosphatidylcholine. So it's a thick fat, and it forces your liver to dump bile. And when it does that, it recycles and replenishes healthier bile. Also, increasing your bitters are great for the liver. And coffee enemas, castor oil pack. So ALT, AST are what you want to do. Mercy says 93% just bought your book. I love it. Awesome, Mercy. Thank you so much. Judy, I know you're a 3%er. CC says, I want to be a 3%er. Let's make it happen. Ann says, I'm a 3%er all the way. I love it. Keto's not a diet. Keto's not a diet. I love that. Roger Winter says, thank you for all your information and advice. I lost 150 pounds over the past 20 months doing keto and intermittent fasting, and now I'm doing carnivore for Lent. Roger, that's amazing. 150 pounds. Congratulations. That takes determination and discipline. Everybody give Roger a round of applause. That is incredible. Terry, thanks for letting him know. I'll be right back. Summer, thanks for sticking with us. Summer lost 86 pounds since April of last year. I love it, Summer. You are amazing. I know your story. You're doing incredible. Cece says, hi, new to this chat. I have a question. What book are you talking about? I would like to have it if you don't mind. I'm talking about my book, Keto Flex. She was talking about my book too, Keto Flex. So you can get it paperback, Kindle, and now Audible. Dorian says, I've been trying to eliminate high histamine foods due to my nasal drip, but every list is different. Which foods do you suggest avoiding? You could take a natural antihistamine. I know that Designs for Health has a good product on Amazon. Usually high histamine foods are going to be like shellfish, fermented foods like kimchi and sauerkraut. Aged cheeses are going to be high in histamines as well. For some people, even avocados could be high in histamine. So I would also recommend ION nasal spray, ION nasal spray. I do 4 pumps each nostril before bed, 4 pumps each nostril in the morning to help with, I don't have that histamine intolerance, but it could help with histamine intolerance. So ION gut health nasal spray. Dan says, Ben, you mentioned your interview with Dr. Gundry as being in your top 5. It was a good one. Can you mention a couple more interviews in your top 5 for us to listen to? Absolutely. Absolutely. So yeah, that interview with Dr. Stephen Gundry that I just released last Friday on the Keto Kamp podcast, Keto Kamp YouTube channel. Amazing interview. I've done almost 400 interviews, and to Dan's point, that is in my top 5. Go listen to it or go watch it on YouTube. Incredible interview with Dr. Gundry. Some other interviews in my top 5 would be the one I did with Dr. Bruce Lipton last year, Dr. John Demartini last year, actually earlier this year with Dr. John Demartini. All of the interviews with Dr. Pompa, my mentor, I've got him on the show 4 or 5 times. Those are definitely up there. And then what else is coming to mind? Let's see. Interviewed so many incredible people. They've all been great. Dr. Jason Fung, my interviews with Dr. Jason Fung, who's been a huge influence in my life as well. So those are like my top ones. They're all amazing, but those came to mind when you asked the question. Grounding has helped my sleep. Yep, Judy, great point. Grounding is great for sleep. Grounding is simply walking barefoot on the earth or standing on a PEMF mat. I'm actually standing on one right now. Relight electrolytes also could help. It helped Judy with her sleep. Karen says, I bought Keto Flex and did the pillars. I got stuck because I could not tolerate all the fat. I have no gallbladder. Any suggestions? Yeah, Karen. First of all, thanks for getting the book and doing the pillars. If you don't have a gallbladder, it should be done differently for sure. Go on my YouTube channel and type in Keto Kamp gallbladder, and I have a video on 5 ways to do keto without a gallbladder. You want to really focus on the liver and maybe have some smaller meals more frequently until the liver adapts. And also taking ox bile and increasing your bitters. Jelena says, hello, is it possible to say the 3 major points again you said in the beginning of keto? Are you referring to the 3 ways to heal your body? Identify interference, remove interference, allow your body to heal. Interview I did with Dr. Naisha Winters as well is incredible. I've interviewed her twice, and Alina posted that as well. She's on top of it. You are awesome, Alina. Cynthia, I'm grateful for you as well. Jennifer says, back in California from Florida, is it okay to do 16-8 every day? I tried the 5-1-1, but I feel better with the 16-8. Yeah, 16-8 is fine. Just make sure you're hitting enough of your protein requirements during your 8-hour eating window. I like a 16-8. Let's see some questions here on the Instagram. Way to go, Roger. I see your comments. Keto Chili. Your book is excellent. I keep my bedroom at 65. That's awesome. RB0123, my Bay Harbor neighbor. Yeah, get the book. It's available. Thoughts on healing autoimmune disorders on a raw vegan diet? I think there's a time and place for a raw vegan diet, but it's not something that I like long term. I actually wouldn't use a raw vegan diet for autoimmune. I would do more carnivore, the complete opposite personally. What are the protein requirements to hit? Okay, here are your protein requirements. Everybody write this down. You wanted to determine your ideal body weight. What is your goal weight? Let's say you weigh 180 pounds right now, but you know Your goal body weight is 130 pounds. So 130 pounds is your ideal body weight. So now you want to eat 1 gram of protein per pound of lean body weight, meaning 130 grams of protein per day. That's how you determine your protein requirement. This Monday, I'm releasing an interview with Coach Bronson Dent, and we dive deeper into protein and skeletal muscle mass, so stay tuned for that as well. David says, do we need to peel and de-seed cucumber pickles? It could help. It could definitely help remove some of the anti-nutrients. If you have a healthy gut, you don't really need to do that, but it will help remove. I think it's a good idea to do so. Is Ozempic okay? I don't know what Ozempic is. So let me do a Dr. Google search. Ozempic. Real doctors, not bots. It's an injection once a week, non-insulin medicine. Yeah, I don't know what this is, so I'm not going to tell you to do it or not to do it. It looks like it's a medication, but I always like to go a natural route versus medication. Yeah, Sharon, that will attribute to hair loss and thinning of the hair. So get the protein up. It's very important. Let's see what other questions came here on Instagram. I lost hair a few years ago when I tried keto after 3 months. I want to try it again for health. 50-year-old woman at ideal weight. Do I need to lose hair again? More minerals or electrolytes? Yeah. So a few things you can do. Minerals and electrolytes for sure will help, but find ways to support your thyroid. Maybe taking some thyroid, a supplement that helps support the thyroid, maybe some iodine, depending on understanding your body. And maybe just not as aggressive. Maybe doing a month or so of keto and then you start flexing. The flexing part of Keto Flex actually helps support the thyroid. If you think about the thyroid, it's not as simple, unfortunately, as looking at TSH and then saying you have a thyroid issue or your thyroid is healthy. There's not one study that shows the TSH marker has anything to do with thyroid health. It's actually not even a marker of thyroid. Has your doctor told you that? It's a marker of your pituitary and hypothalamus. The hypothalamus pituitary, which is in your brain, stimulates the thyroid. That's where thyroid stimulating hormone comes from, TSH. Once the thyroid is stimulated by the pituitary, then the thyroid produces the hormone T4 thyroid hormone. T4 thyroid hormone is the inactive form of thyroid. It can't really be used by your cells in your body. It needs to be converted and activated into T3. T3 is the active version of thyroid, and that's what your cells use. That's what helps you produce energy, burn fat, feel good. So you want to look at the full spectrum here. What helps make that conversion is actually insulin. So a Keto Flex day could help with that conversion. Also the liver. You got to make sure that you're supporting the liver. If your doctor who's prescribing thyroid medication for you hasn't even looked at your liver health, big red flag. Big red flag. And look, there's a time and place for taking hormones, bioidentical hormones, hormones in general, if you do it right and really monitor your numbers. But if you have excessive cellular inflammation, it doesn't matter how many hormones you take. Yeah, it might show that your hormones are optimal in the bloodstream, but if those hormones are not getting into your cells, you're not going to feel well. If you have excessive cellular membrane inflammation, it doesn't matter how many hormones you take. And yeah, you could increase the dose and it might, shove some into the cells, but that's not going to work long term. Similar to if you have children and you scream at your children for the first time, go clean your room. You're yelling at them. They're going to really listen to you and they're going to go clean their room. But what happens if you keep screaming at your kids every single day for weeks and months and months? They stop listening to you. They become deaf to your screams. Similar to not addressing inflammation around your cells and just taking hormones, thyroid hormone, whatever hormone you might be taking, testosterone, bioidentical hormones. If it doesn't get into the cell, you're not going to get well. If you went to the gas station and you went to go open up the gas nozzle in your car, but it's locked, the gas, what is it called? The little thing that little cap, I guess it's the cap. Yeah, let's call it the gas cap, but it's locked. You can't unscrew it. But then you have the gasoline nozzle, but you can't get it into the car. But so you pour it all over your vehicle, pour it in the back seat, and then drive away. Is that going to work? Is that going to get you far? No. If it doesn't get into the car, if it doesn't get into your cells, you're not going to feel well. So you got to really focus on what is causing cellular membrane inflammation, work on removing or reducing the inflammation. Then the hormones could get in much more efficiently. Best natural forms of protein. Animal-based protein is going to be your best bet. It is complete. It is bioavailable. So like Judy said, beef, eggs, fish, all animal products are going to be superior. I also like energy bits from the company Energy Bits, which is a spirulina, which is actually not animal-based, but it doesn't have any anti-nutrients. There was a question about, does intermittent fasting raise testosterone? Intermittent fasting can raise human growth hormone, but here's what it does for you. It's not so much about raising your hormones, or, healthy people don't have high amounts of hormones. They have sensitive hormones, and they're sensitive because their inflammation markers are now optimal. So intermittent fasting could reduce cellular membrane inflammation to make the testosterone you already are producing more efficient. That's how it works. Not so much about increasing testosterone, unless you have really low testosterone, verified by good lab testing. But it's really about making that testosterone more accessible by your cells and the receptor sites that are integrated into those cells, and they're called integral membrane proteins. There was a question that came in. Huge protein takes you out of autophagy, though. So if you're trying to heal and lose weight, what would you suggest to balance both? That's where intermittent fasting comes into play, right? So when you fast, you get the benefits of autophagy. And then when you have your eating window, you hit your protein requirement. Add in exercise, and you also get autophagy. So it's about intermittent fasting, getting in your protein requirement during your eating window, and then pairing that with exercise, especially like strength training. That's how you get the best of both worlds. Is 100 grams of carbs okay? 100 grams of carbs is still considered low carb when you compare it to a standard American diet. But if you want to get into ketosis, it's going to still be too high for you. So if your goal is to get into ketosis, you want to drop that below 50 grams. When falling off of keto for months, what advice can you give to get back on everything? I would say it's never about the get back. It's always about the I said that wrong. I would say it's never about the setback. It's always about the get back. Sometimes setbacks are setups for something great. What can you learn from that? Just get right back on course. Don't go 100% on day one. Find one thing to master that habit, and then move on to something else, master that habit. If you really want the best advice I could give you is to join my Keto Kamp Academy. Let me be your coach. Let me be your mentor. Let me show you the way. Get plugged into my Academy portal and show you the pillars, and I'll give you coaching. But one day at a time, beat yesterday. Don't worry about the setback. Worry about the get back. That's what we want to put our attention on. Best vegetables would be, I like fermented vegetables if you don't have a histamine intolerance. I like bitters, arugula, dandelion greens, artichokes. The Keto Kamp Academy, if you go to ketokampacademy.com, you'll see what the details are. We're actually offering a 14-day free trial right now. ketokampacademy.com. Keep in mind that camp is spelled with a K. Point blank, period. Thank you. I'm glad that you got that. It's awesome. Can intermittent fasting increase cholesterol levels with family history of high cholesterol? I haven't seen that. If your cholesterol is going up, it's typically not from fasting. It's something else. But if you got to really consider, it's not just total cholesterol you want to look at. And as a matter of fact, total cholesterol doesn't mean a damn thing. More people actually die from heart attacks and heart disease with normal to low cholesterol than with high cholesterol. You want to look at HDL, LDL, triglycerides, fasting insulin, inflammatory markers, and get a full picture. So Sam, I would tell you to go on YouTube and type in Keto Kamp cholesterol. I have several videos. Some of those videos I go over my lab work as well, and I really help you understand cholesterol as a full picture, not just total cholesterol. Have you interviewed Dr. Westman from Duke University? I have not interviewed him yet, but I love Dr. Westman's work. My good friend Jimmy Moore wrote a book with him called Keto Clarity in 2013, 2014. So he's great, but I haven't interviewed him yet. Hey, Niku, good to see you on here. How do you calculate your macros? I like chronometer.com/Keto Kamp. You could download it for free. So CRONO meter.com, chronometer.com/Keto Kamp. Great app. It's free. And you could use the web browser or on your phone to calculate your macros. So chronometer.com/Keto Kamp is a great, great resource. Anybody on here right now live in Las Vegas or close to Las Vegas? Anybody like in Las Vegas or Southern California or anywhere around there? I'm going to be flying to Las Vegas this weekend, actually Friday night to Monday night. I'll be in Las Vegas. I'm going with my beautiful fiance, Natasha, and I'll be speaking at the Biohacking Congress in Las Vegas. I would love to see you there. I'd love to meet you and hug you and chat with you. I'll be speaking there along with my mentor, Dr. Daniel Pompa, my colleague and friend, Dr. Mindy Pels, and other incredible speakers. Yeah, Niku, maybe this is something for you to drive over to Las Vegas. I'd love to see you. Biohackingcongress.com. You could learn more about that. There's also a live stream ticket if you want to get that. We do have a coupon code for you to get 20% off your ticket, which is just my full name, Ben Azadi, no space in between, Ben Azadi, for 20% off. I'll be speaking Sunday afternoon at 4 p.m. I think that's Pacific time in Las Vegas. My lecture is going to be about the innate intelligence, 3 ways to tap into the wisdom of the human body. So whether you're going to be there in person or you want to watch it online, head to biohackingcongress.com. I will also be speaking in Salt Lake City next month, April. I think April 18th and 19th, I believe, at Keto Salt Lake. Cynthia Thurlow will be there. Dr. Ken Berry will be there, and other incredible speakers. So if you live in the Salt Lake City area, that is just Google Keto Salt Lake. I don't have a coupon code for them, but I'll be there. And then I'll be speaking at KetoCon in Austin, Texas. And I think that's in July, ketocon.org. Let me just check. If you're in Austin, Texas, I'd love to see you there. July 8th through July 10th, KetoCon in Austin, Texas, ketocon.org. I should be speaking potentially at PaleoFX as well in Austin, Texas. I think that's at the end of April, early May. And then I'll be speaking in Orlando, Florida in August at the not Keto Symposium, excuse me. It's called Keto Orlando Summit in August in Orlando, Florida. And then I'll be speaking in New York City, if you're in New York City, in September, at the end of September at the Keto Symposium. So I would love to see you. If you live in Las Vegas, Salt Lake City, Austin, Texas, New York City, Orlando, Florida, I'll be at all those locations speaking this year. Maybe I might be visiting Southern California, potentially for the Keto Palooza event. We're still kind of figuring out when that's going to be. That's in San Diego. So that might be on the radar as well. And then my mentor and the team of doctors I work with, they're planning also an event for HCF seminars in November, which will either be in Arizona or in Florida. So there's a lot of events this year. I would love to meet you, to chat with you, to hug you, and to have a great conversation with you. It's always fun to connect in person. One of my favorite things is to speak on stage. And look, this is coming from somebody who was deathly afraid of speaking in front of people. Can you relate? Are you afraid? Have you ever been afraid of speaking in front of a group? I was deathly afraid of doing it. As a matter of fact, I dropped out of college. Get this. I dropped out of college and I had just one more class to complete to graduate college, Miami-Dade College. And that class to complete was speech. And the requirement to finish up that last semester of my last credits for that degree was to speak in front of my classmates on a specific topic for 15 minutes. And it terrified me. And I ended up not facing my fears. I ended up quitting and dropping out of college. Now, I look back and that was a blessing because it led me on a journey that I wouldn't replace to this day. But now I speak on stages all across the world and I love it. And here's how, if you're somebody who's in the position of speaking in front of people, here's how you can get out of your head and get out of that fear mode and actually serve the people in front of you. And I learned this from the great Bob Proctor, the late, great Bob Proctor. Stop thinking about yourself. Stop thinking about how you sound, you look cool, and you, or I should say me. Stop thinking about me and start thinking about the people in front of you, the people you're serving. The second you take your attention off of you and put it into the people in front of you, that's when the fear goes away. I shouldn't say the fear goes away. That's when you're more likely to do it. The fear is going to be there, but the more you do it, the more the fear goes away. That's the more accurate way to measure it. But hey, if I could do that, you could do it too. I love it. I'm almost throw up for getting on stage. Yeah, I've been there. I remember speaking at a conference in Destin, Florida, just 4 years ago. And oh my gosh, I was like getting ready to speak. They were about to call my name, and I felt like I was going to throw up. I was shaking. I'm like, oh my, I almost wanted some technical stuff to happen so I didn't have to speak. I was like, please let the lights go out or let the video stuff break, let the mic break. I don't want to speak. I'm going to throw up. They called my name. And you know what? Once I got on stage and put my attention on the audience, that all went away. So I've been there, but you do enough times. The frequency creates the genius. Everybody understand that. For whatever you want to accomplish in life, frequency creates the genius. Frequency creates the genius. I took speech twice, says Andrea. That's funny. Yeah, I never went back to college after that. Thank you, Jelena. Thank you, Judy. I appreciate you. Summer says I also get nervous. Also, some have great purpose. Is yours? Yeah, purpose is important, right? That's going to help you take your attention off yourself and put it on the people in front of you that you could serve. Reasons come before results. Thank you, Arlene. Arlene, will I see you in Orlando? That would be awesome. Wish that worked for math. Just got your book, Keto Flex. So much great info. Excited to get started. World Holt, thank you so much. Hope you enjoy it. Zipporah, I appreciate you so much. You're incredible. All right, my friends, thank you so much for joining me today. Every Wednesday, 12 p.m. Eastern time, I'm live with you. Love to see you next Wednesday. If you want to get my book, Keto Flex, it's now available on Audible. If you're a new Audible customer, you can get it for free. If you go to freeketoflex.com, you get the book for free on Audible. If you're a current Audible customer, simply just add it to your cart, use a credit, or buy it. And for those who get the book, whether it's on paperback, Kindle, or on Audible, I have a favor to ask of you. Please, please, please leave it a rating and review on whatever platform you bought the book. It really makes a big difference. People really pay attention to those ratings and reviews. So leave it an honest rating and review. It'll make a big difference for me, and I would really sincerely appreciate that. Just bought your book. My puppy chewed it up. Still readable. Your puppy devoured Keto Flex, literally. Niku, you're a blessing. I appreciate you. D. Smith, I appreciate you too. And have an amazing rest of your day. Thanks for joining me today. Go get your vitamin G on. Thank you for leaving the rating and review. Talk to you all very soon. Panji, you too. Thank you. Bye, everybody. Talk to you.